starting. All right, guys. Let's see how this goes. All right. I am coming on here to share about something that I'm super excited about. Hopefully it will be something that some other homeschoolers in the area are interested in too. So, I wanted to just share and announce that I am starting my own co-op, and I'm really excited about it. It is going to be in Albuquerque, and let's see. Let me make sure I'm doing this correctly. Okay, I think I'm doing this right. All right, it says live. I see myself, so I'm gonna guess it's going correctly. So I am going to start my own homeschooling co-op. I'm really, really excited about it, and I wanted to share in case anyone local is interested. And I want to say right off the bat that per the contract I have right now, I cannot reach out specifically on my own to people to tell them about it or invite them to it. I want to walk in integrity with that contract, and I've learned a lot. Like, one, read your contract. I probably would have signed it anyway, but I am not allowed, per my contract, to reach out and tell people on my own about this co-op for a year after my contract ends. So I cannot seek people out until May 4, 2024, which is a whole other issue. But I had a contract specialist look at it, and she said that I can do blanket things like this, and that's okay. And so if you are interested in this, you have to ask me, and then I can share, okay? Also, I want to announce that my friend Laurel Menicucci, who is here watching, hi Laurel, is also joining me in this. She will be teaching the 7th graders, which is very exciting. And so you can ask her about it also. I will make sure that she can share this video to her page and all that. All right, so let me give you the deets. I am going back to my roots of homeschooling. So for 18 years, I think, 18 years, I homeschooled where we all studied the same time period in history together. There's lots of curriculum out there for that. Well, not lots, there's several. But it's a tradition that is long and beautiful and so fun. And there are so many benefits to having the whole family study the same time period, but at their own individual level. So while, let's say, we studied the American Revolution, my high schoolers were reading books and a textbook and answering questions that were high school level, and my elementary kids were reading, or I was reading a text to them that was written for elementary students, and they were doing things for elementary students, right? But there's a lot of benefit in everyone studying the same time period. And one of them, and the main reason I initially started doing this, back when I first started homeschooling, is the mental load is decreased for me. So as the homeschooling parent, especially if you're homeschooling more than one student, if everyone is on the same time period, it just streamlines your mental load, because the read aloud, you do a read aloud that everyone gets. The kids are all studying the same time period, but with books that fit them. So if you do field trips, or you have conversations, or you do projects, all of these things, everyone's on the same page, and it makes life less stressful. When I was considering trying to homeschool each of my kids using curriculum back in the day, I really loved Sunlight. It was a great program, but I could not have 3 or 4 kids in different cores. That was just mentally, my load couldn't do it. So I could have one kid on American history, one kid on the first part of world history, and then one studying the least populated or least evangelized people groups or something like that. And while those are all great, the way that a parent has to help each one of those children is a totally different load. For those of you who do public school, you know this. Homework at night is a lot if you have more than 2 kids and they're all doing different things, right? As they should, for certain leveling, but they don't have to be when you're homeschooling for history and all that. So this co-op, I'm calling an integrated co-op, and it's because all the subjects will be integrated, but it's also integrated in a way that a family can study the same time period together. We'll use a history program that has textbook and audiobook for K through 6 and one for 7 through 12. And then also literature selections for all those time periods, but leveled for those grades. It'll be a 30-week program. And the reason I'm doing that is because I have found, and by the way, I just want to say I also have a team that's been working with me and helping me and giving me their thoughts and ideas for the last month or two. I won't out them here, but they've been really great. And we all agreed that when a program is, when you do a co-op that's really rigorous or really involved, if it's only 20 weeks, let's say, then we have found that it's very hard to get the families to keep homeschooling, and legally we're supposed to do a certain number of weeks. So we are going to have K through 12, and everyone will do the program. The co-op will last 30 weeks. And that would be wonderful. It's a 4-year cycle. It will be leaning, it's a classical co-op, but it will also have a lot of Charlotte Mason in the younger years especially, which I'm very excited about. I also wanted to have a co-op that was affordable. Homeschooling isn't cheap, and we don't get tax breaks, contrary to what a lot of people think. And also, the economy stinks. I've also noticed that homeschooling in groups, building community and homeschooling is really important. And sometimes cost can be a real hindrance for that. I've seen it in the last 6 years, and God's provided it for us, but I've also known many families that wish they could have that and can't afford certain programs. And so I've really prayed about it and talked to my team, and we really feel like we can do a co-op, a traditional style co-op, where the parents have to take a role, and I'll explain some of that in a minute, and make it affordable. All right, so for the grammar program, which is K through 6, it'll be $200 a student for the year. For the dialectic age group, which will be 7th and 8th grade, junior high, mid school, y'all call it here in New Mexico still, I'm not used to that, $300 a year, and high school rhetoric level will be $400, cost $400 a year. $300 of that will be to the co-op, and $100 will be for an online science class that the kids will all do together. Like I said, subjects will be interconnected in a really incredibly tangible way, K through 12, everything. This is going to be I'm calling it rigorous enough program. This is going to be a solid education, but it will allow your students to do other things. We do not want to have a co-op where they're doing all the subjects, and it will be all subjects, especially for junior high and high school. For elementary, it'll be broken down a little differently, but we want them to be able to pursue electives and interests that they have, and have time for that as a family, have time to do extracurriculars, because we really feel like that's a really important part of a great education. We're going to have an honest and inclusive and respectful history program that is just an honest look at history. So as a classical educator, we seek truth, goodness, and beauty, and that will be a focus of the program in all of our subjects. We want to help the kids see that. We'll be using the Trivium, of course. We're going to be learning how to think. We want to teach our kids how to think and how to learn, not tell them, especially in junior high school, junior high and older senior high school, what to think. We want to cultivate how to think, how to use logic, how to use information and knowledge in an honoring way, and all of those things. Of course, we're going to be using Socratic circles because that's a part of a classical education. So while the subject list might look traditional in a way, it's not, because the students will be discussing all the subjects will be based around Socratic circle discussions. That is how a classical education works. That's what we're going to be doing. We'll have parents teaching, and a family can do this program and any others they need to do. So you can teach one of the classes and have your kids in the program. and have some of them in public school or private school, whatever you need to do, because the team, I'm a huge advocate of believing you need to do what is best for each of your students and for your family, and that homeschooling is not the only godly way to educate our kids. And it works beautifully for some kids and some it doesn't. And so we want to come alongside you and equip and encourage you in whatever your journey looks like. Will be literature, grammar, and composition will be taught together. They will be using Brave Writer program, and it incorporates all of those while looking at a book, which we're very excited about. And the book will match to the time period. So will our discovery, which we will be doing in grammar and dialectic, first year dialectic. We'll be using Berean science, which goes through history, the 4 classical time periods of ancient, medieval, early modern, and modern. We will not be separating out American history because we want our students to see how it's all interconnected. All classical programs usually do this, so we're going to be doing it that way. But all the subjects will be taught together, and so our discovery time period in our grammar and dialectic stage will focus on the discoveries in the scientific milestones through that time period. So we won't focus in the grammar stages on just one, like biology or things like that. We'll be moving along in time period. I'm super excited about that. For our fine arts, it will also be tied to the time period. So we will have poetry, music, and art, traditional fine arts, and every 3 weeks we will rotate through. So in, like, let's say week 1 we're studying about Jamestown period or whatever, we will do a poem circling centering around that, and then the next week we'll do an art that focuses on that time period, and then we'll do music, maybe a folk song, things like that. Then we'll start over. So that will be our fine arts. The memory work for grammar stage, which is a part of a classical program, will also be tied to the time period as we move through. We will have a parent in charge of quarterly fine arts outings, and then we'll also have a semester co-op celebration that a parent will be in charge of. So parents can register for the co-op by paying their supply fee, $200, $300, or $300 plus the science, and taking a role. So that no one can register until they take a role for the co-op. So we have teachers, we have a fine arts coordinator, a semester celebration coordinator, a cleanup supervisor, supplies and support manager. We have a morning game coordinator. We have a field trip coordinator, a park day coordinator, a caffeine, a barista. That's always necessary. And I forgot the last one. I have another one. Anyway, so to join us in this co-op, you have to take a role. It's called a co-op because we cooperate together to do this. Also, we will all sign a grace and unity form that we understand that as lovers of Jesus, this will be a Christian program. We may land differently in different areas, and we're going to walk in grace towards one another in that, and all of that. For the rhetoric years, really excited about this. The kids will do online science at home together. They will have the same program. They will all follow the same program. It'll be $100 a year for that. And then they will come discuss it in class. We will be focusing on Spanish for rhetoric, not Latin. And the kids, once they get to 11th grade, will do C&M together. As a class, they will all register for the same C&M class and then get to come together during the co-op day, go over what their homework is, make sure they're all understanding, and the teacher will walk them through that. I'm super excited about that. 9th and 10th grade will focus on Spanish vocabulary and building up skills before they do the C&M class. So they will get dual credit. So because dual credit is free in New Mexico, it's such a wonderful thing to take opportunity of. Plus, if they all go to class together, they have that support system and can carpool, things like that. But then they also can do their homework together, which is really exciting. Every class during rhetoric and dialectic class periods, at the end, we'll have two things. One, there'll be an elective half hour where all the students are encouraged to come talk about other things they're studying that are not included in the program, so that we can encourage them, so we can be motivated, so we can show them that we want to support them in their other interests. And so everyone will get to talk about that every week. And then the last 15 minutes will be a time we're calling Connections, where everybody talks about, as a group, how did we see the connectedness of all of our subjects that we talked about today? What did we see, that line of history weaving through every subject? Where do we see God's mercy? Where do we see God's grace? Where do we see God giving special gifting to people? Things like that. Excuse me, I hiccups. It's going to be very, very exciting. During history, also the junior high and high school, they will be, the last part of history time will be a biographies and timeline section. They will each have a timeline book, and they will also have a index card box that they fill out on biographies. Each 3 people at the end of each class period, or they can bring them. And so that at the end of the year, they have a box of biographies that they can add to. Let's see. They will have fine arts in high school and junior high. So that the fine arts is a part of the classical education, no matter what level you're at. So we will still do that. And again, it will be tied to the history. For our dialectic students, we again will not be doing Latin. We'll be doing Greek and Latin roots and studying those. We will do a pre-logic for 7th grade, which will involve chess and some pre-logic books talking about different parts of logic. And then in dialectic 2, they will take logic. We will also have a study skills time period for each group in high school and junior high, and that will look different. I won't go into all the details, but 7th grade will have a science fair, and 8th grade will have a geography fair, where they have to have a certain section of the world that they need to be studying and do a big presentation on, like a science fair, but on geography, that will share about the people groups there, how their history is connected, why are they known for as a section of the world, things like that. We will have debate, because that's a part of classical education, thesis defense, and things like that. The memory work for grammar I'm super excited about will be language. And for language, it will involve Spanish conjugations. It will involve English grammar. It will involve Greek and Latin root memorization. We'll have math, facts, and science and history and geography that all tie to that time period that we're one of the 4 time periods that we will study, the 4 cycles. We also have timeline and then catechism. It will be a basic Christian catechism. It will not delve too deeply into different doctrines, because we want to welcome everyone who loves Christ and wants to do a Christian education for their child, no matter what church you go to, no matter how you vote, no matter what. Okay, if you love Christ, we want you to be a part of the co-op. This will not involve preschool. Oh, that's the other role. The other parent role will be the child care coordinator, so that people who have younger kids can get some support if their kids aren't in class. So like I said, the grammar program, we will have grammar 1 and grammar 2. Grammar 1 will be K through 2nd grade. Grammar 2 will be 3rd through 6th. And we will meet from 9 to 12. And then grammar 3 will be 1 to 3:30 in the afternoons. And that will be the 4th through 6th graders only. The dialectic and the rhetoric students will meet every day not every day, once a week from 9 to 3:30. So our whole co-op will meet from 9 to 3:30. One of the goals we want to have for the dialectic 3 families is to be able to have drop-off. So that means the 4th through 6th graders, once they have become familiar enough with the program and they don't need parent support during the class time, and I, as a coordinator, feel comfortable enough saying that the parent can leave, we're going to allow that. But the parent needs to be doing the work with the kid at home, and the child needs to be able to participate in class without the parent support. So those 2 things will have to be in place before that can happen. But I really do want to work towards drop-off, or leaving, I should say. So the parent is there in the morning for the grammar program, but then the afternoon grammar program, if the parent has a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, and it would be best if they could leave. We want to work towards that. The dialectic and rhetoric will be drop off with the understanding that the parents are doing the work with the child, or at least managing and making sure that the work is getting done. Again, this is a co-op, so we're going to be cooperating together and all of that. I think I've covered the basics of this. I'm very excited about it. We will be starting next fall. We will do 15 weeks each semester. And I'm really excited about it. So if you're interested in knowing more, please let me know. We will need teachers for the different levels. Right now, I have a grammar 2 teacher. I have a dialectic 1 teacher, and I may have a rhetoric 2, which would be 10th grade teacher. That depends on how this all fleshes out. But we would love to have you join us. Like I said, you can reach out to Laurel Menacucci also, and just ask questions. I will have a basic document that I can send you if you're interested. But again, I'm super excited about going back to my first love of homeschooling, where we read amazing books together. So in this co-op, we will be reading some classics, but we will also be reading just really beautiful, beautiful books. Some of them will be modern, and we will talk about that. My biggest goal for the co-op is twofold. One, for the parents, that they feel like homeschooling is manageable because everyone is streamlined and they're on the same page studying together. And 2, I want students to love literature. I want them to see the beauty in books and the beauty in learning. So I want it to be affordable. I want to support families in homeschooling in this beautiful way as much as I can. So that's the basic gist. I'm excited. Again, if you have any questions, send me a message, send me an email, mindybrouse@gmail.com. Or if you are watching this because you're one of Laurel's friends, ask Laurel about it. But we hope to start doing registration in January for the following year, but it will not be, crazy, raw, we'll just start basically. But again, I need those roles filled for the different programs. So I'm excited. All right. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. Okay.